ॐ कालकालाय विद्महे कालातीताय धीमहि तन्नो कालभैरव प्रचोदयात्। ॐ हिंगुळे परमहिंगुळे अमृतरूपिणी तनुशक्तिमनशिवे श्रीहिंगुळाय नमः। ॐ कामाख्याय नमः। Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another video of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava. So in today's episode, we will talk about one of the Swarupa which has already been given a glimpse of it. I believe you would be remembering our last video of about Panchavaktra Bhairava, and also few of the information has also been shared in Adi Agora. This where actually this Swarupa has been given on a very high level of glimpse, but as we got a lot of information asking for much more detail about this particular Swarupa, today we are going to talk about his greatest Swarupa, which is misunderstood in many of the aspect. So before we begin, so let me actually request all the gurus and siddhas to support and be part of this journey of this today's information satsanga, where he himself actually recites his information to all of us. So today let us continue with the journey of the story. This story actually is connected to the Bhairava Tantra, where his particular Swarupa is also being shared in many of the Puranic informations, including Linga Purana and even Devi Purana. Here about the Swarupa of the Shiva. It has been said that actually how exactly this particular Swarupa is connected to the Bhairava Swarupa. It is about the story of how Bhairava came to be as Agora Bhairava. Most of us actually are thinking that why Agora Bhairava? Why exactly Agora? Bhairava is an Agora Swarupa. We do not have a direct, in 112 Swarupas, as I always been sharing this information. 5 is Gaupya Swarupa. 108 Swarupas is what actually from a Tantra perspective we know that what exactly those Swarupas is all about. In those 108, this is about 46th Swarupa of Agora Bhairava, in which a very this is one of very powerful Swarupa which has been Aradhana been done from all the practices, like we can call it as like even Agora Tattva, or even when it comes to like Kaula Nirvana Tantra, even Agora Bhairava comes into that particular picture. Even when we have the information about a Naga Sadhu, or when we come out as actually Tantra Sadhana, even into a simple Tantra Sadhana, Agora Bhairava Swarupa comes into a picture. So let me just share you the storyline, how exactly this connect into. In a very beginning, like I believe this is about when even there was nothing, okay, not yet taken any kind of a shape. There was only one Swarupa called as in Shiva. This is what actually is being articulated in the Shiva Purana also. Okay, still, silent, as well as infinity. That is what Shiva is all about. From his great silence, 5 lights got emerged, like each turning into a different faces of the Shiva. Like we may ask, like each faces carries what kind of characteristics is its very special role. Entire universe was able to witness this. Daivaloka was able to witness this. The entire Devata Gana was able to witness this information, that one particular Swarupa of the Shiva, where there is nothing, Shiva was able to come into an existence. The first phase was Sadyojata. Sadyojata is actually, it is what we call it as looking towards the west direction. In the west, actually, from the astrological perspective, we call it as it is the governed by Shani Paramatma. Here, his particular Sadyojata is in a different Swarupa where actually his gaze falls into the west direction. Creation start beginning to blossom. This is where actually we tell when there is a slowness, there is a creation which happens. When Shani enters our life, he always may make our life slow, or even a phase of the life becomes slow. But it is always not denial. It is always whatever the effort we put across, he is always make sure that actually it has been taken care. Similar is what actually happened even when Shiva came into an existence. One Sadyojata Swarupa in the west, when it came, the creation got started. The mountain rose. It was like a seeds like sprouted. Entire cosmos, life took into the first breath. This was the first witness of the Shiva Swarupa, Sadyojata. Here, Sadyojata is more into like a Veda Swarupa, because he is more into like a somewhat like a Vedamata Swarupa, which created the entire creation. Even it is somewhat like in Linga Purana, it has been said that all these Pancha Swarupas, and especially which was been disclosed in Panchavaktra Bhairava Swarupa, this particular Swarupas cast very, very vital role of how exactly the creation was being created into this existence. The second phase was Vamadeva. See, Vamadeva is, as name tells, it is not about the Vamachara. Let me just tell you. It is about the Vamadeva is about like the face which turned towards the north. His face was soft, very, very soft, and even the peaceful. See, Vamadeva is actually like, you do not go into the names, indulging into the names of Vamadeva means it is a Vishnu Swarupa. No. Let me just tell you. Vamadeva is, it is about the flow. It is about what you call it as harmony. This is what actually the north direction, when he was able to see, this is what actually happened into the creation. The rivers began to flow. The harmony filled the entire world. The power that protected the life started awakening it. Because when the life spouted, the mountain rose and the seed spouted, and the first breath took from the Sadyojata Swarupa, Vamadeva, especially turning towards the north, was able to create something called as the protects the entire awakened got its life. The third Swarupa is about a Tat Purusha. Even you maybe have heard about this, even the mantra Tat Purushaya Vidmahe Mahadevaya Dhimahi. Similar to that, in that sloka also, Tat Purusha is what the prominence has been given, because this is the third Swarupa of the Shiva, which was turned towards the east direction. This was the phase of meditation, even for the meditator to experience the Shiva Tattva. This is the reason always it has been said, if you are a beginner, if you want to know, experience the meditation in your primary stages or initial stages of the sadhana, this is the phase, or this is the direction which we need to sit on, east, because the quietness get embarked into our life. The quietness, this particular Swarupa was able to bring, like from him came the entire air. The inner voice was able to actually generate that guided every souls gently towards the truth. Whatever we have called as in truth today, this is what the Swarupa is all about, which is a completely into a what we call it as a stillness or a quietness which was being emerged. Tat Purusha. The fourth Swarupa was Ishana. The fourth phase, Ishana, is a lifted upward actually, which we call it as like which is seeing the sky. It was like subtle, vast or formless, because this Swarupa is like seeing the entire cosmos. Okay, this phase was held the secret of the liberation. That is the reason, even when it comes to the Chakra Sadhana, when it comes to the Sahasrara, we tell that actually from the Sahasrara is where actually we will be able to connect to the formless state of the Shiva Tattva, Shiva Guna. And that can only happen when we actually rise our Chakra Sadhana. And here, this is what even the fourth Swarupa of the Shiva was able to disclose us, that the formless, the substill form was always was facing towards the upwards. This phase, as we told, like it is about the liberation. It is a path which every soul returns to the divine. Every soul must return. Even the ignorance may be your habit, or your current existing life, maybe the indulge into the things which is not towards the liberation. But still, let me just tell you, everyone should pass the tunnel, and that is what the ultimate destiny of the each soul, whoever are born in the Mrityu Loka. So to go into that phases, this is a phase actually which is going to help us. After all these 4 phases, and the final light, this is a very special reason, is actually the final light appeared like a very, very strong, bright, and like somewhat like filled with energy, unlike all the other Swarupas. Yes, all the Swarupas are important, but this Swarupa is important for the people who are in the Mrityu Loka. The light turned towards the south, which is governed by Yama, which is governed by Nyaya Devata, which is actually, we call it as, for all the sadhanas, all Tantra sadhana, Vama sadhana, all we say that south is a direction which is actually make you experience the real meaning of the stages of the sadhana. Especially I would recommend people who are in the starting stage of the sadhana, east is a direction, north is a direction. Okay, south is only for if you really want to taste what exactly the Tantra sadhana is all about, because south is what is a doorway, it is not the direction. This phase is about the transformation. This phase is about Agora Bhairava, the Bhairava, where the Swarupa is about is about what we call it as it is not about the fire. Okay, Agora is not about the fire. It is not about the fear. Many call that actually Agora Tattva is somewhat like actually Agora Guna is somewhat like actually very fearfulness. No, it is the fire of cleansing. It is a fire of actually making you yourself experiencing one step closer, burning away somewhat like sorrows in the life, ignorance, ego, and so like what we call it, that only the truth could remain in one sadhaka's life. That is what the Agora Bhairava is all about. That is what the south direction is all about. That is what the cleansing of the Guna or Bhairava consciousness is all about. From this sacred fire, a powerful forms step forward. The one, like Puranas called him none other than Guru Daiva Agora Bhairava. See, he appeared not to frighten this to the world. Maybe people will think that when it comes to the Agora, always people take this as Ugra Swarupa and he is actually frightening the world. Never. If you are a sadhaka of Bhairava or any of the Dashamahavidya Devi, even it may be Kali, it may be Tarama, it may be Ma Tripura Sundari, it may be Bhuvaneshwari Ma, or even it may be like Ma Tripura Bhairavi, or even Ma Chinnamasta, any Swarupas. Here, every Devi is connected to Bhairava Swarupa. Here, most of the Devi Swarupas are connected, or even the Bhairava Swarupa is connected as frightening the world. But let me just underline this. This Swarupa, Agora Bhairava Swarupa, is to free it. It is to free all of us from that fear of false fear. We can call it as a false fear because the fear which has never been existence in our present present or in future. We are always thinking about the future, thinking that these are the expected outcomes which may resulted, which is actually maybe creating the problems to us. Even for example, when you are sitting towards the south, people will ask many questions that this is about the tantra direction. Is it really safe to do it? Again, safety is about one's individuality. It is not the caution. It is somewhat like caution being said that you want to experience. For example, you have already been in the sadhana for the couple of years. Now you want to intensify your sadhana into the next level. Then this is the stage where you need to experience yourself into. That's how Agora Bhairava comes into one's life. Here, this particular Swarup of Agora Bhairava, he came to guide those who are stuck in the darkness. You can correlate it. Showing them something to grow must pass through the flame. Many of them ask me that actually I'm in a tremendous turbulence in the life and how exactly we need to come out of it. I always tell, let Bhairava bless you with more turbulence, more problems. You may be wondering as like why I am trying to say this. Yes, it is the guna. It is actually a stages which is Bhairava is very near to you, making sure that you pass through those flames, such that actually you can go and clear all your karmas and be next to him. See, in tantric meanings, what we call it as Agora Bhairava, in tantra, this particular what we call have the story is like not just like a history, or it is not a teaching about the life or the life situation or the Swarupa of the Bhairava as always been spoken in many of the videos. Here Agora Bhairava is a strength inside us. In Tantra, this is what it has clearly been said, that helping us face our fears. It is breaking our limitations. It is a transform into something higher we can achieve. That is what the true real sadhaka expect when he does a sadhana. Not thinking about having a checklist that these are the things which I need in my life. No. If you are ready to lose, do the Bhairava sadhana. If you really need to experience what exactly the Bhairava is all about, do the Bhairava sadhana. And this is what he is going to do. He is going to give a strength in us. He is going to help to face all our fears, all such kind of limitations, what we have it in the mind or the situation. He is going to clear it up. And that particular transfer can only happen when there is a good which is going to be awaited for us. Here, he is the force that always says that do not run away what scares you. Walk through it. Walk through it. On the other side, I am waiting. This is what actually Bhairava always tell. We as a sadhakas always have a tendency that when trouble comes into our life, I think that actually this sadhana is not for me. And we again hop between one sadhana to the other sadhana. One Swarupa of the Devi or one Swarupa of a Bhairava to the other Swarupa. Trust me, any Devi Swarupa, any sadhana, Bhairava is the initial. Bhairava is the start, Bhairava is the end. Do not run from what scares you. Walk through it. In other side, he is waiting for us. He is waiting for us to go and see him. That is what real Tantra is all about. It is not about actually getting some siddhis in the life. Siddhis are something like a milestones. It is just a witness that milestone. Yes, I have crossed this. Move ahead. If you're stuck there, as many of there are, you may be seeing a lot of videos in the YouTube. Milestones, they are stuck in that milestones. Let's not be one of them. As a true sadhakas, let's see that as a milestone because our destination is something else. He is waiting there. Do you want to really meet him? Then just make sure that actually the milestone is only being seen as a milestones, stepping stones, not as your destination. See, let us begin the story back. The beginning of the greatest story of this particular Agora Bhairava Swarupa is like, it is like somewhat like the journey of Bhairava, Agora Bhairava started from the five faces of what we call it as Panchavaktra Bhairava Swarupa perspective. The fifth Swarupa, the Agora Bhairava Swarupa, then what we call it as south from the five faces, the wisdom of the Puranas, whatever we spoke about. But here there is one we need to understand. Why particularly Agora Bhairava is very essential for each sadhakas? Especially what is connected when it comes to the Natha Sampradaya, when it comes to the all Kaula Tantra, it is connected to the all Tantra Sadhana. Why Agora Bhairava is connected into? Let's talk about, or let's know about this. Why he is being called as cleansing the world? See, as soon as he emerged, as I told you, from the fifth Swarupa of the Shiva, the Agora Bhairava roared. The roar was the, what we call it as, there is a particular beautiful story which is also connected to the initial awakening of the Bhairava Guna, or Bhairava consciousness, which is connected even to the, what we call it as Brahma. You know that actually Brahma was being chopped off by the little finger, by Bhairava, where his ignorance, his fifth head was being chopped off. This story is connected to that. It is somewhat like Agora Bhairava, when he roared, okay, it was not the ordinary sound when he came into an existence. It was a, we only talk about when the Bhairava came into an existence is about the Kala Bhairava Swarupa perspective. But here it was a fifth, the direction, it was on the south. There is a very secret information which is hidden inside this, where after chopping off the Brahma's head, that is a frequency that is dissolved every impurity in the cosmos, because Creator himself thought that he is the supreme. After that act, the world, when it was trembling, the what we call it as like when the smoke rised, and he was Brahma thought that actually entire heaven, hell, everything was, devatas were bow down to that particular Swarupa of the Shiva. Guru Bhairava Swarupa came into, the demons even got stilled, because he is the Adipati, he is actually the Guru Tattva for the entire Creator, because the Creator was being given a Guru Tattva telling him what and what not. This roar was a first Homa, the primordial fire ritual which took place. We know that actually after this, he went into the Parikramana. But before that, there was a story which is which get connected here, is seeing him, Brahma approached him with a trembling as well as reverence, telling him that, Daiva, O Daiva, you are the purifier of all. Even you have purified me. As I being the creator, you have purified me. Teach me. He also asked, Brahma asked, teach me the art which begins, like cleanses themselves. Like, what is the best way that actually one can be purified, cleanse themselves without even external factors? The Pratama Vakya of the Guru Bhairava, the Agora Bhairava, was lifting the skull cup of him only. Yet inside, it was not about, like we kappara, we always see that actually whether the wine is, or any kind of a blood is being poured. But it was a pure, a luminous emptiness was there in that particular bowl. The womb of all mantras. The kappara is the womb of all mantras. People only see, when they see the kappar, as only as it is a bowl where actually the alcohol or the wine is being poured. Or even when it comes to the deepest tantric rituals, they see that kappar as a bowl where actually the blood is being poured. No. Here Bhairava was able to disclose one information to all of us. Kappar is a luminous emptiness. the emptiness which each of the sadhakas need to have it. It is the womb of all mantras. Any mantras which came to us, it was from this emptiness. And he was able to, he thought the Brahma, the first Kriya Yagna. Kriya Yagna is somewhat like a Tantra Shastra. In Tantra Shastra, the word Yagna does not simply means the Vedic fire rituals. Many of them you may be thinking. In Tantra, it expands the esoteric idea where actually Kriya is somewhat like an act done with full awareness. The mantra, the intention, offering becomes as a yajna. See, that is the reason when we do a sadhana in the sadhana, Bhairava sadhana paddhati, we always tell bhavana. Bhava is the ultimate. Here, act, the kriya. The kriya is done in the awareness. With the connection of the mantra, when the what we call it is an intentional offering becomes that yajna, that is called Kriya Yagna. Bhairava was able to disclose this particular secret to Brahma. The Kriya Yagna that transforms the ordinary action into the sacred action. Any action can be changed into the sacred action only by this particular simple step, where practitioner, as we as a sadhakas, we can become the priest. And the altar and the offering will be able to accept us. This is a secret. This is a secret. We can call it as a secret of the science, by which every ritual connected to the human and divine. This is what actually is the secret. Kriya Yagna. See, this is not the fire does that not burn. It is actually burns the sin. It is a awareness. Does Agora said that I am that awareness. So this is what he was able to tell to the Brahma, that fire does not burn the sin. Awareness burns, and that particular awareness is me, and that awareness is what I am. That is Agora Bhairava. In the Homa, thereafter, like, that is the reason when the Homa is being done, it has been always said there is a particular energy frequency which need to be vibrated before any sadhakas being initiated into that process. The reason is, once you perform such kind of yajna, your kriya, what we call it as a kriya yajna, in the Tantra Shastra it has clearly been mentioned, you should be very, very keen. You should be very, awareness should be at your tip of your consciousness. This is what actually makes that particular process into what we call it as a ritual, a right ritual. See, Bhairava teaches Brahma, like Kriya means in the Tantra, you may be wondering, like Brahma being the he being the father of all the entire Veda, why exactly Bhairava in the Agora Swarupa was able to explain him what is the really meaning of the awareness? Because he had lost his awareness when the fifth head was chopped off. To realign back to him for the connection of that fourth tattva, what we call it as like, see, in Tantra, the Kriya refers to somewhat like four things. Okay, it is a conscious intent filled with the actions. It is a constant intent filled with the action. This was the first, we can call it as the first mantra or a first key which was being given by Bhairava to Brahma. Second was perform with mantra or the breath. Every mantra should be through the connection of the breath. There is actually a proper science. Whenever there is a certain sloka of the mantra has been said, there is a kumbhaka which is like inhale and exhale has been done. So perform the mantra through the proper breathing. Third key he was able to tell, direct towards the inner transformation, which is really essential, which made Brahma to connect to back to his guna. The fourth, what we call it as aligning with the Devata or the Shakti, being the invoke, because it is not only Shiva guna, Shakti is most important. This is what the fourth key was able to tell. Jnana without Kriya is like somewhat like incomplete. Kriya without awareness is a waste. Okay, it is somewhat like a jnana without the kriya is incomplete, and kriya without the awareness is it is waste. So kriya should not be mechanical. It is like a we can call it as energized action which should be in the process, and that is what actually Bhairava was ultimately was able to tune Brahma, that kriya should not always be mechanical. It is somewhat like energized action. It is an energized action which comes into a picture. See, essence of Kriya Yagna, when Brahma was able to ask what is an essence, what is an importance of Kriya Yagna. Kriya Yagna, Bhairava, Guru Bhairava was able to tell Kriya Yagna occurs when your action itself becomes as an offering. It is somewhat like actually I sitting and doing certain sadhana paddhati, and it is somewhat like I am doing an external offering to him. The dravya or the whatever the ingredients what I have, I'm trying to offer him, which he has created. But this one, what we call it as action itself becoming the offering. This action becoming offering, where the 3 steps is very, very important, he was able to tell. Though these 3 steps are dravya, what is offered, your, like it is like a prana, it is an intention what you have it. Dravya, what has been offered in the yajna. Second comes Agni, the fire. It is about the mantra, it is about the breath, it is about the tapas, inner heat, what we call it as. The third is about, as I told you in earlier, Devi or the Devata Swarupa we need to identify. That is what Bhairava or Bhairavi Tattva within we need to activate it. It is it is somewhat like actually a recipient of the offerings, which is we need to understand very clearly. Even this is what this 3 steps of information which Bhairava, Guru Bhairava was able to teach to the Brahma. See, here the Tantra states the external fire is an optional. Always keep this in mind. The real fire is Jataragni. What will all, or even we can call it as like Jataragni or Pranagni. Even when we do a sadhana, certain mantras we invoke from the Manipura. When we do that, Jataragni is getting activated. Pranagni get activated when you do certain kind of a sadhana paddhati. Through the mantra sadhana we do it. Somewhat like it is about the japa. Even like if you call like what are the means to activate those type of agnis which get connected us to the primordial, what as a Kriya Yagna can be performed. It is about the japa, it is about pranayama, it is about the mudra, it is about the daily rituals, or we can call it as, or even the Bhairava Seva or sadhana gestures, whatever we do it. These are the indications of the yajna as we sadhakas need to know. This is what actually we as a sadhakas need to understand what exactly the Agora Bhairava was able to teach to the Brahma when it comes to the Kriya Yagna. In Tantra, as I told you, the 4, the inner intention of the action which makes very clear, the awareness. Awareness is a key here. See, when Tantra differs from Vedic Yagna, maybe you may be asking, yes, here I'm not trying to connect from the Bhairava as well as a discussion between the Brahma, but this may be the question which everyone of may get into a discussion when it comes to the Yagna part of the word what we hear on. See, Vedic Yagna is all about some external fire rituals, okay? Somewhat like external fire altar required, a Agni Kunda is required. So like a ritual correctness is primary is being important, and even it is somewhat like a the purohit, the priest conducting the particular ritual, and Veda Goshana should be on a proper form. Offering should be materials are mandatory, somewhat like what is really like dravya, what as I told you. In Tantra, there are two types of external, but also there is one key as what we call as an internal fire. Similar to the external fire, here it is the internal fire. It is nadi, it is the prana, it is the mantra. This is the center. This is what the Tantra is all about. Tantra is not actually sitting in the woods or sitting certain, performing certain, keeping certain alcohols, offering to a certain alcohol, or no. Even when you do the mantra sadhana, when your nadi is activated, your prana is activated, the mantra is getting activated, that is the internal fire. And that process is what is Tantra. Kriya Yagna is already been started. It is about the inner intention. It is about Bhairava. When Shiva is activated, Shakti will automatically align primarily. And we as a practitioner, we need to recite both, like puja dravya as well as what we call it as the mantra Goshan is also needed. Here, the offerings are mandatory even in a breath, awareness and the emotion before even offering something being done. This is what we need to understand when there is a major difference between what is Vedic Yagna, like what we call it as Vedic Yagna, and Tantra Kriya Yagna. See here, 5 main forms of Kriya Yagna in the Tantra. When Brahma was able to get this information from Guru Bhairava, what we call it as Pranagni Yagna is about, as he was able to disclose, this is about the breath, okay, offering the breath into the breath. It is somewhat like very closely to what the we call it as like a Grita Samhita, or even it is written in Kaula Tantra, calling as Pranahuti. Pranahuti is somewhat like offering prana into the yagna. Okay, it is not like a person jumping into the yagna. No, pouring your entire awareness into that particular process is pranahuti. Next is actually mantra yagna. Mantra yagna, I believe even everyone will be able to connect this particular dots. Every mantra recited, it is about the fire of the awareness what has been poured into. The Bhairava Tantra emphasizes this very, very deeply. So mantra yagna is very, very important. Next is about tantric style when is being done in the sampradaya, Agora sampradaya. It is about dravya yagna. Dravya yagna is somewhat like offering, you may be knowing, like it is all about offering the flowers, liquor, giving a bali, naivedyam. You may have heard this or read this, or even there are certain rituals which you have already gone through into the YouTube, which you know about it. This energizes with the mantra, a kriya. This is actually a real typical what we call it as a kriya style. This is Kaula Tantra, which is more specific to this. There is fourth type of yagna which Bhairava discloses, that bhava yagna, offering the emotions, offering the ego, offering the fear, offering the identity to the devatas. And when we do this, this is important even in Bhairava sadhana, in Tantra, where surrender is a key, an actual sacrifice which need to happen from the sadhaka, or else there would be something like a mechanical style. So always bhava yagna is very, very essential. You need to offer yourself. The fifth is about what we call it as a karma yagna. Daily actions is being done, but mantra awareness. But when you do the daily action with the awareness, that is Kriya Yagna. It should not be mechanical. It should be more with awareness. Walking, a simple acts like walking, eating, it may be sleeping, or even love. Any kind of a love making. All can be yagna. It can be offered as a yagna here. What we need to understand is, when done with a Shakti Smarana, when we offer those action to him and her, This is where actually the karma yagna is being active. See, here, as already told, in the 5 disclosures of information, he was able to tell all of these 5 again connect Kriya Yagna linked to the what we call it as a Kala, the time of the fire. It is about the prana, the breath of the oblation. The shabda, the mantra as a fuel. The bhava, the intensity of the offer, what we offer. Even in the Kaula, it is very beautifully been articulate. Dehi ve yagna kunda. Dehi yagna kunda. It is clearly trying to say that this body itself is a fire pit. There is no external fire pit needed. So Bhairava was able to tell a very, very secret information after the act of what? He became the Guru Bhairava. This is what the importance of Agora Bhairava Swarupa is all about. Bhairava Sadhana, here it is about talking about more into what is Kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is a Homa. What is a Japa? It is an Ahuti. What is a Dhyana? It is a Agni Bhava. What is a Smarana here? It is a Sampurna Smarana is about the final Purna Huti which is being offered into. See, we as an sadhakas, what we need to understand is, one, always keep in mind, like the heightened prana flows only when the mantra and Shakti is aligned with us. Removing the inner tamas is what really the importance is. It is about devatas reaching to the Shunya Tattva, that is called the Bhairava state, in all about in the consciousness what is really important. The inner purification is very, very equally important. Multiple external homas can be done, 1,000 homas can be done. Nothing will work unless Kriya Yagna is active. This is what he was able to tell. Even Veda Yagna, this is the reason why it is very powerful. Kriya Yagna in Tantra, it is very powerful. I'm not trying to compare between whether it is powerful than the Veda. No. When done consistently, when something Kriya Yagna done with a full of awareness that moves, we become a living temple. Inside every practitioner, Bhairava will come and sit. This is what actually he was able to teach to the sadhakas, which is really important. See, again, let me just take you back. Each Swarupa of Panchavaktra Bhairava, when we spoke about, in this Panchavaktra Bhairava, the 5th Swarupa, Agora Swarupa or Agora face, is all about the Guru of the Bhairava. We call it as Kala Bhairava. See, Kala Bhairava is a Sampurna Bhairava. It is a Bhairava consciousness. Each face has 108 Swarupas, which we, with his grace, we may hear about him. But each Swarupa discloses one particular secret even to the Devatas and even to the practitioners. So in this today's video, maybe I believe you have known or experienced him, which the information which has very secretly been shared by the Guru to the Shishya Parampara, or from the Kaula Tantra perspective. In a Skanda Purana, very, very short information is being written here. But here when we get this information from our Gurus, he always tell that actually such kind of information are so sacred to know that actually what really importance is this in the life. Maybe with this note, we'll end this episode. We'll connect with one more beautiful Swarupa of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava to know about him, experience about him, talk about him, and just to listen about him and know what exactly that Swarupa is trying to disclose to this sadhaka. Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Kala Kalaya Vignahe Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tanno Kala Bhairava Prachodayat. Om Hingule Parama Hingule अमृतरूपिणी तनुशक्तिमनशिवेश्वरी हिङ्गुळाय नमः. नमस्कारः.